Morocco. This kingdom, forged from Arab, European, and African cultures, offers us the exotic magic of the Orient right next door to Europe. It's hard to resist as the country's enchanting light works its magic on you. And the people we're going to meet are all reflections of that warm glow. Abdullah, who lives in the region of Taliouine, will initiate us into the secrets of saffron. The origins of this age-old spice are still steeped in mystery. It's said to have many virtues, and it's worth its weight in gold, red gold. Julie is a nurse. She lives in a valley of the high Atlas, 5 hours of hard driving from the nearest village. This young Frenchwoman grapples with the harsh environment in order to care for the most remote communities. Ali and Lahope, guides in the Sahara, are old hands at crossing the desert. Following the traces of the mythical desert caravans, they are carrying on the tradition of the merchants that once traveled the south of Morocco.
What I like most about the desert are the long crossings. When you walk for weeks on end, you get a feeling of accomplishment at the end, a feeling that you haven't wasted your time.
The rugged range of Jebel Sirwa is a stunning link between the high Atlas and the Sahara, a land where you don't expect to find any trace of life. A voyage that only begins there where the trail ends. Long ago, people settled on these lunar plateaus to protect their goods from the pillaging tribes of the Sahara. Their villages blend in with the ochre landscape, as if they were trying to camouflage themselves, and their soil has become the cradle of a heaven-sent spice. They say that saffron was brought here in the 9th century by a tribe traveling from Arabia to Andalusia. Now, 600 years after being driven out of the Iberian Peninsula, their descendants have settled in this similar landscape.
Our great-grandparents were already growing saffron. It's part of us. We've been growing it for ages. We've all grown up with it. We've always grown it here in Taliouine. In other places, they're just starting to grow it. Saffron is an honored guest in our village here. A guest who arrives only in October.
Life in Tizgi, a village of small growers, follows the rhythm of saffron. For Abdullah and his family, this delicate plant is their whole life. It flowers for only 15 days a year, but from the picking all the way to the selling, it demands painstaking work. Everything about this crop has to be done by hand.
صافي اكسلتي ارسلين في كانك صافي يدك انت دو الخمسة يلا نتظل.
We get up at 5 in the morning.
نفطر 5:15 5:30 سفر نتدو.
We do our prayers.
سفر نقيا غرس. Then
we have breakfast and we set out around 5:30. We get to our saffron fields at daybreak, and we have to finish our work before the sun is up completely.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen, all for free. No subscription required.
It's 400 meters from the village to the plateau where the saffron fields are located. The steep trail often runs right alongside a sheer drop. One has to belong to this land so as not to go astray.
It's a rough road, but people are used to it. They have no choice. The road isn't paved, there are only trails here. It's a 45-minute walk uphill all the way. It's a very narrow trail, a really tough climb. The trail is washed out in spots because of the rain. We repair it every time, but it keeps getting damaged. There's a storm, and that's it. Just this year, we've repaired it 3 times.
Caught by the first rays of the sun as they climb, these intrepid saffron growers run a race against time every day during the harvest.
Even if we have to get up early, it's okay. We're happy because we're eager to see all the saffron that grew during the night. We can't wait to get out and pick our treasure. If our field is flourishing, we're happy. When the flower opens and is exposed to the sun, the filaments scatter and they're lost. Here you see in the morning the flower is closed. And that's why we come so early.
Every morning, the plateau abounds with new flowers that contain the precious strands. An ephemeral miracle, and the villagers are quite grateful for this boon.
This is a very good year, and we hope it'll be just as good for the money. We have rich soil here. Saffron grows well thanks to the cool climate. There's a lot of humidity, and that makes for a very good saffron.
So far from the bustling cities, this is how life goes on for these Berbers, who are perfectly in harmony with the seasons of nature. The harvest follows the rhythm of the sun, and they have to stop picking as soon as the plateau starts to get warm. During the saffron season, every minute of work counts, and the whole family pitches in and helps. Even Saida, Abdullah's daughter, she attends school, but after class, she has to help her parents.
متى يحل وقت مسلسل أجابه أبوه اصبر حتى تنتهي النشرة الأخبار لا تحقق
من الزعفرانين صندوق الزعفرانين اها خدامة هي محمد لينا ايوه
ايوه انا بحفظ
Saffron is vital to us because it's our only resource. That and a few animals we raise. But saffron is our #1 source of income. It's gold. It's gold, thanks be to God. Even when you get good saffron, the price doesn't amount to much compared to the work we growers put into it. Your eyes get tired, your hands, your legs. When you stay seated like this 4 or 5 hours at a stretch, afterwards you can't walk, you can't move, you can't go out. It's really strenuous. You work night and day during the saffron harvest, right up till the end, and the work has to be done right away. You can't put things off. It has a very short lifespan. If you let it go for 2 days, it's lost. It's just 1 month's work a year, but it's the equivalent of 4.
After a month of intense activity, Abdullah is ready to set out on a long road trip.
Okay, here I go. May God protect us. Pray for me. And Ahmed, what should I bring back for you? Now calm down now. I have to go. And you, Saida, what do you want?
Clothes.
And what else?
Shoes.
Shoes, God willing. I'll bring you back a pair of shoes. Bye now. And Rashida, come kiss my hand. What should I bring back for you?
Bring back clothes for her, too.
Okay, Mama, I'm going. Take care of the children. I won't be gone long, God willing.
May God protect you.
This small saffron grower from Tizgi will sell his red gold not just in the local cooperatives and souks. He'll go well beyond the region of Sirwa. From village to village, wherever his encounters may lead him, Abdullah takes us along on the second phase of his work when he is a door-to-door salesman.
You know, it's hard. I have to make these long trips, but I love this life. You're free in this kind of work. You work for yourself, from your own home, and you're not afraid of anyone.
السلام عليكم. تاني وين؟ أقدر يلا
How long will you be gone this time?
Oh, I'll be away a month, month and a half. It depends. I'm going to Ouarzazate, Rala, Rashidia, Gulmin, Tinuir, Tinjded. I'll sell my saffron in all those towns. People buy my saffron mainly in August, when you have all the weddings and celebrations. You know, we already knew that saffron has certain powers, and now it's been proven. So people are using it more and more. Now we know that it's really good for you.
The saffron harvested in the autumn is sold at different times throughout the year. It keeps for a long time and even improves with age. So when Abdullah needs money, he simply takes to the road.
أمانيكا وين كان زعفران؟
السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله.
بخير.
أمانيكا بخير تهنا. لاباس كله.
ما تزنزات.
زعفران الحر.
واخا يلا بشيشرة.
يلا سيدي بسم الله. يلا. مرحبا.
Here we go.
Let's have a look. It's pure saffron?
Of course it is. Top quality. It comes from my village. My saffron comes straight from my fields. I don't buy it in the souk.
Okay, I'll take 5 grams.
Well, look at it. Just take a whiff.
Great.
It's good. Homegrown, good. Even though it's this year's, it's light and dry. Nothing more delicate than the scales.
The scales have to be precise.
Well, you see, they're accurate.
Good.
That'll do it?
Yes, that's perfect. That smells good.
You're right. Plus, it has medicinal properties. It's good for colds and teas. It's good for what ails you.
Yes, it's good for everything.
It's even good for death.
Oh, that I didn't know.
The rising demand for this spice has driven up the prices and at the same time raised Abdullah's hopes of improving his family's standard of living.
By selling my saffron, I can buy clothes for the children, some sugar, tea, and flour. That's how it is with saffron. Saffron is money. Take a look.
It's a beautiful color. How much is it?
€5 a gram.
I'll take 4 grams.
I used to sell it for €2, €3, €4 a gram, but the price has gone way up.
That's expensive.
No, it's not expensive. If you know what goes into it, it's not a lot.
This is good saffron. I use it a lot. I put it in my tea to give it an aroma, in the tajin, the couscous. I use it for my children. I make an herbal tea with it when they're sick.
Live in a city? It's never even crossed my mind. This is where my children are growing up. This is our life. We have to grow saffron and apples. That's how it is. It's the earth that feeds us.
At the end of this voyage, the simple freedom of these men of the earth is a natural gift that feeds its own dreams in the silence and immensity of the high plateaus of Sirwa. The Tessaout, this valley in the high Atlas Mountains, was for a long time unexplored. Even at the beginning of the 20th century, it was not known that this remote valley was inhabited. It seems as if the modern world had stopped on the threshold of these deep gorges. Julie, 24, is a nurse. She left her life in the city of Lyon in France to spend a year in Morocco. Along with Khadija, her interpreter, she takes care of the people of the region. A minibus has set out during the night on the valley's single track to come get the 2 women and take them to the site of their next consultation.
We work together. She teaches me about everyday life here. This headscarf is part of that. So she's my guide. She's my interpreter and my guide.
They cover a vast area. Julie and Khadija work in 14 villages deep within the valley. Getting there is already an adventure in itself.
This track is very long. It stops in Magdaz. From there on, there's no more road. So we feel like we're in a completely isolated corner of the planet. It seems really far away from everything. And then we wonder, how's it possible that there are people actually living way out here? We think, my God, it's almost unnatural.
Mohammed has also come a long way to be taken care of. He's a farmer and lives in Ishbaken, about 20 kilometers away. It's a difficult trip, so he put it off as long as he possibly could. Now he has to do it.
It took him 4 hours on muleback to get here.
How long has he had these stomach pains?
It's been a month now.
Here you have the everyday gestures that would take 5 minutes in France, but here they take a lot longer because there are the constraints. We don't have all the equipment, there's no electricity. No doubt about it, it's a different way of life, a different rhythm.
Not much comes into this valley. Only a few of the local drivers are willing to tackle these rough roads. They are the only link between the first town and the inhabitants of the Tessaout Valley. This dispensary was opened in 2002 by a French association, Tassadour. Nurses come here to work for a year. They provide basic medical care and take part in public health programs.
We take care of the children, all the vaccinations, and the pediatric problems that might come up. Digestive infections, ear, nose, and throat, general medicine. And there's the family planning programs and a lot of pregnancy care and emergency care. That happens a lot. And we're also a presence for them. We've realized that the commitment and values are much more important here than the acts themselves. So just being here with them reassures them. It means a lot to them. Time is quite elastic here, so you let yourself go with it because you don't have a choice. It's the rhythm here, and you learn to live with it. There's no way to be stressed because that's just how it is. You learn to make do with what you have.
The most important thing in Tessaout is the Wadi, this stream of the same name. It not only irrigates the crops, but it also serves as a means of transportation.
It's a beautiful valley, but it's hard living here in the winter, especially when it snows. But in the spring, the water from the melting snow is very useful. Sometimes the river overflows, and that damages the crops. But we accept that because here, like everywhere else in the world, water is essential, and we respect water and all living things. The Tissaout is a magnificent region. It has a lot of water. We lead very simple lives, but the people here are happy. I don't like towns too much. Too much noise, hustle and bustle, cars everywhere. It's not for me. If they would improve the roads here, that would really make our lives better.
We go along with Julie and Khadija on the path to Taslint, 10 kilometers down from the dispensary, where they have to do some vaccinations. Most of the time, the two women make the trip on foot, conditions permitting.
We can't really make long-term projects because we never know what's going to happen. If we'll be able to make it back, if the road will be blocked, if it's going to rain, if the river's going to flood. So we have to live in the present moment, and that gives you a serenity. Their culture is very strong. Their family ties as well. The family is very important. They like living here. They don't want to leave. And from my experience, I can say, yes, these people like it here in their valley, and they want to stay. Life is hard here. The people, the women have to work in the fields. It's hard. And yet, there's a certain aura about them, and they're always ready to laugh. You want to feel sorry for them because we couldn't imagine living our whole life here. But in fact, the people are very happy here. I adapted to life here pretty quickly. I think that later, when I go back, it will be difficult to adjust. And yet I know full well that I'm a foreigner here, that I'm just here for a certain time to give what I can, live as fully as I can here, but that this is not my home. So it's good that it all has a beginning and an end.
Julie has surely found here the essence of what drew her to this profession. An authentic bond with these men and women whose everyday life is so different from ours. Now we head south towards even wider horizons. Towards a land where the voyager loses himself in both space and time. a harsh land where the buffeting winds sculpt the landscape, and the pitiless sun beats down on man and beasts. Here we're on the outskirts of the Sahara, halfway between the plains of Tafilalet and the Dra Valley. This region is the home of a myth, the myth of the great caravans. Laden with gold, salt, and other riches, they would ply the routes between Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Mauritania. The caravans made the fortunes of men and cities, and thus created vital links between these countries. And now, what remains of them is a romantic image that lingers in our memories, and that of these two sons of the desert. Ali and Leho are guides in the Sahara. They are old hands at long crossings with their camels. 1.5 months, sometimes 2, completely on their own, cut off from the outside world. The two men have been traveling for several days now. They're taking their caravan over an old trail that leads to Timbuktu.
We're going to explore a trail that we've never taken before with the help of God. Le'o and I have been desert guides for about 20 years. We have experience and we set out looking for new routes. We're trying to find wells. If we can find water, we'll be able to open this new route to tourists.
The caravans used to transport dates, barley. There were no cars. It was done by camel. In the old days, they would carry a little gold and money that they would hide. It was all carried by caravan.
They also carried salt.
Right, and salt too. They'd carried henna. They used to carry a lot of henna. Now, there are no more caravans. That's all finished.
No compass, no GPS. They make their way to the Dra Valley by reading the signs of the earth. For several centuries, the columns of camels furrowed these fields of stone, but the traces of their passage are beginning to fade.
هات بعدها وريد دادي كوبري الله اعلم خصمك ها لا ورني ورتسين ها ورنشكي هورني مرينا علي غا
We'll be right back. We're going to try to find the trail. Keep an eye on the camels.
They made this pile of stones back in the old days. They're all over the Nida region, all the way to Sakia El Hamra, and even down to the south of Morocco. We're on the right track. It's the trail that leads to the Dra Valley. This is a very old trail. These piles of stones, these cairns, are about 2,000 years old. They mark the trail to Tantan, Sakia El Hamra, and even into Mauritania.
الحمد لله ربي يلا ربي ويا العفو سنيديرا يا ماضري ولا يا معذور الله ربي الله ربي يلا ربي ويا العفو سنيديرا
غربي
دينا
نفصل نشان مني داس نشان
ما بريم سياسة يمكننا
أفراد دياس وتاي أي خلاد وتاي تسكر ومان هو يزدي زند الجوات خورتني تتف زند الجو تقريبا تمدين ما يمكنش مرة تحلى ولكن بزاف
I like the city from time to time, but it's in the desert where I really feel alive. I feel part of a whole. I really feel my soul. I'm at one with nature, and I feel close to God. I feel a presence in this vast wilderness, in the starry sky, the moon. Out here, my thoughts become focused on life's essentials, the family, and especially my children. I feel at peace. The desert, it calms the soul and the mind.
After more than 10 days of traveling, our supply of water is almost finished. It's vital for both the men and the animals to find a well. Wells used to dot the length of the caravan route every 20 to 30 kilometers, but some have dried up and others have been forgotten.
They can go 15 days without water, and now it's only been a week. When water is available and they drink as much as they want, they can hold out for 15 days. And they'll drink about 40 liters of water now.
What I like most about the desert are the long crossings. When you walk for weeks on end, you get a feeling of accomplishment at the end, a feeling that you haven't wasted your time.
These important commercial routes once gave rise to flourishing cities in the middle of the desert. That golden age is now past, but some cities like Tamgrut are still a stopover for these modern-day caravans. Ali and Laho take us to a traditional caravanserai to meet Baba Raglil, guardian of the past.
السلام عليكم.
عليكم
ضيف
السلام
الله.
ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم.
على سلامتكم. على سلامتكم. انتم بخير الحمد لله على سلامتكم.
كي بخير.
على سلامتكم مرحبا بكل فرح.
جينا بواحد حنايا جينا بواحد.
We've come a long way with our caravan from Umjran, and we'd like to spend the night here in Tamgrut.
مرحبا بكم بكل فرح.
May come in, welcome.
مرحبا بكم.
بارك الله فيك. تفضل معنا سيدي.
He is a descendant of a caravaneer. He's also the living memory of this city. Tamgrut is home to a treasure, a library of thousands of books collected thanks to one man, a theologian named Mohammed ben Nasser. He used the caravans to import a store of knowledge here and make this city a center of learning for scholars of the time.
It was around 1000-something Vijira, that is, the 17th century for Europe. Mohammed bin Nasser taught theology, the Quran, and the sciences in Tamgrut to more than 1,400 students. He brought books on philosophy, grammar, medicine, astrology, Berber, Turkish, and Arabic. Our library's oldest book dates back to the year 483 of the Hijra, 1063 of your calendar. It comes from Cordoba in Andalusia. These works were written by scholars from all different countries. And Sidi Mohammed bin Nasser wanted all these books to be available to everyone, not only the elite. They used to say, may God make our country a land of religion, of culture, and a haven of peace for the poor and for the needy.
Ali and Laho know that to open the trail once they get past Tamgroot, the caravan is going to have to face a formidable obstacle: these high cliffs. The trail exists. Animals used to take it frequently, but Ali and Laho don't know exactly where it is.
بريد دا سميتو لا تمخش الا لاضر غنكرا الحديد حاس السلام عليكم.
Hi there. Are you from around here?
Yes, I am.
انت من هنايا.
Do you know the trails around here?
Yes.
بخير الحمد لله. يا ربي هات النران ندوس.
We'd like to go to Tizi and Toflet. I think that we're on the right path, but we're not sure. Maybe you could show us which way it is, please?
Sure, I can help you out.
Muadi, the nomad, agrees to join the expedition. He goes off to leave his motorcycle at his encampment and will hook up with the caravan a bit further along the way.
When you set out, your goal is to arrive at your destination, whatever the cost. It gets pretty tricky sometimes, but we've decided to revive the trails of our ancestors. In spite of the heat and the difficulties, I won't give up. Otherwise, that would be the end of everything. A whole world would disappear. We have to resist in order to preserve our heritage. This is our history, and we have to keep it alive for our children and future generations, God willing. Muadi, did you know the people that used to live here?
Yes. It was the Balu family that used to live here. They didn't have any blankets. They'd just cover up with a bit of ragged cloth and they'd eat a bit of bran bread. And Malu, she'd take shelter up there. That's where they'd keep the dromedaries. And a little further up is where he would stay, off by himself, and eat on his own.
غير زعما تسيروا صعبة
مرة والحو غير خطر
اسكت
Look, a jackal did this.
وشنا
Did you see?
امرت لي تناض غير
نظرنا شنين
وشنا تني امرت لي تزقوا يد السمنة
To catch the jackal, they bury a trap here. And then, when the jackal digs it, he gets caught.
Hey, Muadi, which trail do we take?
The one on the right. Ali, please go check with him. I'm telling you, it's okay. No, Ali's going to check it out with you.
We're not going any further until we see what the trail looks like.
Go all the way to the end to check. You can make it through. Other caravans have come through before us with their donkeys and dromedaries.
Here, we're coming into a really tricky passage. Muadi knows the trail well. He says if we don't take it, we'll have to make a long detour all the way around. We'll have to tighten up the loads. Each one leads his dromedary, and we'll trust in God. But still, it's extremely rocky.
حاولت طاقة صيدة هات ميجور زيرنا وعد السويد شوف
إن شاء الله أيوة أنا إن شاء الله
The hard thing in the desert is having the responsibility of the caravan when you're reopening a poorly marked trail. When there's a storm, bad weather, sandstorms, and when you're at the head of the caravan leading people and animals, it's not easy. You really have to back each other up in all situations. We may know the region very well, but even so, we always have to be very alert. Sometimes it's hard, but I wouldn't change my life for anything in the world.
مودي والمهم كعون ربنا مودي
سماع الحب
ان
شاء الله يا رب ان شاء الله ان شاء الله
ارض رياض ان شاء الله
ان شاء الله استمر ان شاء الله عليه ان شاء الله مع السلامه
فضلنا كان اللي نزيت يزيدنا مع 3 كيلو تولي يزيد الله يرحم الوالدين
شو انت تنطرتيني ان شاء الله ودي بارك الله فيك الله يرحم الوالدين الله يعاون
عبد السلام الله يعاون
الله يعاون ان شاء الله
طريق السلام طريق السلامه الله يعاون
وبالسلامه
Take to the road, make the journey, strike out to discover new lands, new hopes, and everything else will be granted to you. The long story of the caravans continues in this boundless landscape, heading towards new horizons.